that you log in with the Zoom meeting ID and password at least 10 minutes prior to every session. While logging into the Zoom call, please ensure that your name matches with the response on the registration form. The camera of all the attendees can be switched on once the session begins. We encourage you to participate actively in the session. We have amended our policy of keeping the attendees on mute. You shall be invited for an engaging discussion with the speaker. We shall keep the meeting active for a duration of 5 minutes after the session is over. Please take the opportunity and engage in fellowship during this interval. Any unwarranted action or an attempt to cause any nuisance while the Zoom meeting is on will be taken very seriously. The participants shall be straight away be put in the waiting room for any inappropriate actions. Repeated behavior shall force us to deny the said participant from entering into any further sessions of the conference. my great pleasure to welcome you all to ARAM, Global Rotaract Conference. During this pandemic situation, it is great to see attendees connecting from around the world on this virtual platform. I assure you all that this session, in pursuit of happiness, will be profitable for you in every aspect of your life. Before we start with today's session, I would like to bring to your notice Rotaract's initiative towards polio eradication. Since 1995, Rotaract has made immense efforts to raise funds for eradicating polio from around the world, and today, Nigeria is polio free for the last 3 years. It's crucial to eliminate polio from the last two countries where it remains endemic and to keep other countries polio free. If all eradication efforts stop today, within 10 years, polio could paralyze as many as 2 lakh children each year. To date, Rotaract has contributed nearly $800 million to the eradication efforts to make the world polio free. Two polio drops can give a polio free happy life. We are this close to ending polio. I request you all to donate for this cause and bring a change in our child's dream filled life. With the help of ARAM, we aspire to raise funds to make the world polio free. Please refer the Zoom chat box for payment details for any donation you wish to make. For further details, you can also visit our website www.rotaractclubofnoidayouth.org. Moving further, we have with us today Dr. Pushp Lamba to talk about 8 ways to tackle anxiety. He has 19 years of experience in corporate as well as education field. Dr. Lamba is an ICF certified life and happiness coach, Greenbelt certified in career counseling from UCLA and Univerity, a certified NLP master practitioner, doctor of philosophy, and an MBA. The fact that he's one of the few ICF certified happiness coach in the entire country speaks volumes about his dedication and capability. Over a period of time, he has developed and perfected his own model for coaching, EyeSight. Model EyeSight refers to the acronym support, inspire, transfer, and empower. His coaching practice is standing on these 4 pillars to ensure that all his clients go away with tangible takeaways, which they can use in their lives long after completing their sessions. Having worked in India, USA, UAE, and Australia, he brings a diverse understanding of people and their mindsets, and he has been able to infuse happiness in the lives of more than 800 clients on a one-to-many basis sessions, along with over 5,000 people being impacted via one-to-many sessions. I request you all to put on your smiles and welcome our guest of honor, Dr. Pushp Lamba, for today's Happy Hour in pursuit of happiness. I further request you all to keep yourself muted during the session to cause no disturbances.
Thank you, Medika. Thank you so much. So very good evening to all of you, in case you're from India, and morning, afternoon, in case you're from joining us from the other. All right, so I was muted by chance. So I was just welcoming you all. So guys, today we are here to talk about happiness. So something that all of us aspire, but unfortunately, very few of us actually end up getting it in its actual sense, in its true sense. So I'm going to talk about, so I had actually promised the team Rotaract that I'm going to talk about 8 ways, but then I got a Google form circulated. It must have come to you also, and I got a lot of responses. What I did was I collated those responses, and I realized that there are few issues that a lot of Rotarians or the people who have actually contributed to the form are repeatedly talking about. So instead of talking about multiple things and spread out my focus, I'm going to talk about a couple of things and focus on them in a proper manner. So I'd like to share my screen. Give me a second, please. Yeah. So is my screen visible? And can anyone give me a thumbs up? Thank you. All right. So, mm, first of all, thank you, Medica, for mentioning ICF as a certifying body. It is based out of US, and it is world's largest body certifying coaches. So I'm an ICF certified, and I'm the only ICF certified coach in India, and that itself talks hugely about how much we are focused on getting a structured response to our happiness. You need to understand one very, very simple concept about happiness, and that is that it lies within. The problem occurs when we start looking for it outside. The second problem occurs when we complicate it, when we are thinking about it ourselves. So without complicating it further for you to understand, I'll go out and talk about few action items. Guys, there are a few things that I'm expecting of you. First, try and avoid distractions. This session is going to be for about 40-45 minutes. And then in case I'm able to complete it in 45 minutes, I'll take your questions. So you need about an hour's time where you're distraction free. The reason I'm saying distraction free is not because you could look at my pretty face. That's, of course, that's an add-on, but that's also because so that you understand what happiness is and how you can actually get happiness. I can say it with almost 100% confidence that this is going to be the first kind of a webinar where people are talking categorically about your happiness and how you can get it. So make the most of it. Use this entire 1 hour without distractions. Try and write down the strategies on a notepad. Couple of places I would encourage you to take a screenshot as well. But for most of the session, it will be fantastic if you could put your pen to paper. At the end of it, I'll give you an opportunity to become a part of my WhatsApp group. So more about it later. And then, of course, there is a Google form I'll request you to fill up. So these things will come later, not to worry about. And of course, at the end of this webinar, I plan to give you some goodies, some free goodies. I like to call them chocolates. So yeah. And with regard to my action item, well, like I said, goodies I've already mentioned. So I'm also going to share my wisdom. So where am I actually bringing all this knowledge from? So this knowledge is collated through two primary sources. One is via my clients. I've been coaching for quite some time. Prior to that, I have been mentoring. I have been working for over 20 years now. And while coaching my clients, I picked up these intelligence, these information that I'm going to share with you. And the second source of my wisdom is my observation. So I'm a very good I'm a person who watches and observes and absorbs a lot of things happening around me. So that is also the other source of my wisdom. Your takeaways today, after these 45 minutes to an hour, there are going to be some tangible takeaways. So this is not the takeaway coffee as it is being shown. I just like the color and the graphics, so I put it over there. But there are going to be some tangible related takeaways. The first one is I'm going to ensure that you understand the basic nuance of being happy. Then I'm going to talk about the couple of topics I was talking about earlier in the session was how to deal with fake people. So a lot of people have spoken in that Google form about they are really they don't know how to identify these people. Once they've identified, they don't know how to deal with these people. There are a few people who mentioned, one of my previous webinars I had mentioned about, so someone had asked me how to deal with the fake people. In that particular category, I had told that person to break away yourself. So later on, I got a message from her stating that it is a good thing and she understands that it's going to be very effective, but there might be a scenario where that breaking off might not be possible, in the sense they're a part of your immediate family. Then what do you do? So that's why that's another reason I brought in this topic. And the other is the burden of expectations. Oh my God, 90% of the people who have responded have spoken about this, the burden of expectations. And of course, I need to give you some sunshine also. That smile has to be there on your faces when we end this. So during this, you might get a little solemn, a little sober, a little thoughtful. You might start thinking. But as the end comes, I want the smiles back on your face. So I'm going to give you some sunshine. Before I begin this, I'm going to circulate a poll. So it's a simple poll, and those of you who have answered the Google form have already answered this, but I'm just giving an opportunity for everyone else to also answer. This is regarding what is it that bothers you most. I've created some categories out of my observations again and experience. I just want you to select any number. So you don't need to select only one, select as many as is applicable. So Pratyush, if you could just circulate the poll. Have you done it, Pratyush?
Yes, sir.
Guys, if you have received the poll, just give me a thumbs up or a raise hand so I know the poll has reached you. Okay, fantastic. Pratyush, share the results, please. Do I need to minimize my screen for you to share the results?
Yes, sir.
Yep, you can share it. Do I stop share my screen? Stop my share, Pratyush, you can share the results of the poll.
So they are already shared.
Oh, I have not received it.
Dr. Lamba, I've just sent you the poll results on your WhatsApp as well. So you can access just in case if you're not being able to access here.
Sorry, Karan, I missed what you said.
Yes, Dr. Lamba, I've just shared the poll results with you over the WhatsApp as well. So just in case if you have missed seeing the poll results on the screen,
Okay.
it's there on your WhatsApp.
I didn't miss it. They didn't come only. Okay, I'm looking at the poll results. Okay. So this is very much in line with what I got as my Google form results also. Okay, so I am on the track basically. I just wanted to check with you. So most of you have issues with regard to your professions and friends. So fantastic. You tighten your seatbelts. We are going to definitely take care of both these issues. At least one of them definitely. Profession I'll talk more about in detail towards the end. Okay, so I'm going to get back into the PowerPoint. All right, so factoid. So factoid is a play of words. I have created this word. What I mean is, so I've borrowed this word from the actual word factoid. This is actually something which is unreliable information, something like we like to call something of a fake news. Of course, is a type of factoid. And this is the point with factoid is that it is repeated so many times that we start to believe it. Now, this is the trick that you need to keep in mind. This is something that is, you need to be beware of these fake people because they're going to create an environment of factoid around you. So I'm of course going to talk about how to deal with them. But before I talk about how to deal with them, there were many questions in that form which spoke about that they're not able to identify those fake people in time. Eventually, of course, everyone does. But when the damage is being done, then it's actually of little or no use. So let's talk about how to identify them first. So whatever I'm sharing with you, they're all very, very practical, doable, and something, again, like I said, has been brought out after my actual dealings with my clients who are going through or have gone through these issues. So I'm going to give you certain categories of fake people for you to understand. And what you need to do is, you need to start thinking of the people that you know, you meet, or around you, in your college, for that matter, for example, your friends, people who are your acquaintances also, and you'll start understanding that they fit in one of these categories that I'm going to talk about. Definitely 100%, not even 99%. So the first one is the narcissist. So he is that person. So by the way, I'm using he just as a matter of convenience. I am gender neutral when I'm saying he or she, for that matter, also for the rest of this presentation. So this person is that kind of a fake person who's actually going to be very easy to spot. So he's a narcissist. Narcissists are usually, they don't hide their emotions. That is why they're called narcissists. They're very, very open, loud with their love for themselves. And that's why we call them narcissists. But what is a big problem? If they're easy to identify, then why are they sitting here? The problem is that if you have a narcissist as a fake friend or a colleague or a family member also, for that matter, or even your partner for that matter, that's a worst case scenario, it is very difficult to leave these people. So if you have some narcissist as a fake person around you, just think of him or her, and you realize it is so difficult to break off with them. These people are loud. These people actually are going to be talking only about themselves. They'll actually make you also talk about themselves all the time. They're so focused. Their sun shines only on the one half of the earth, and it's 24 hours shining on that side. It never goes on to the other side. So this is the first category. The second is the horse's vision. So if you have ever seen a horse, the owner of the horse makes the horse wear some kind of a thing. I don't know what you call it, the name I don't know, but that limits the vision. So that is made, the horse is made to wear it so that the horse can only see straight. It doesn't get, the vision does not get here or there on the left or the right, and it goes only straight. And that's the second kind of a fake person. So this kind of a person is always going to impose themselves on you. They're always going to ask this question, why? So why are you going there? Why are you meeting them? Why are you meeting him or her? Why are you even going to the class? If I'm telling you to bunk the class, let's go for a movie, why do you actually want to go for the class when your attendance is also very high? They will not understand your point of view. They're so focused on their whys that it is very difficult to bring them on to the other side of the table. So this is the second kind of people who are fake. The third is the emotional moocher. Okay, so this is one of the most dangerous kinds of fake people. So these are the people, you'll always see them that they are going through some kind of a trouble always. Actually, they might or might not, but they'll always come and share it with you. So you also share it. I mean, you absorb, you take it, you talk to them, you listen to them, because you are playing the role of a good friend or a partner or a family member. But what they're doing is they're mooching off you. What are they mooching off you? Your positivity. So why am I calling them the most dangerous set of people, the set of fake people? Because you believe them, but they are slowly but definitely steadily sucking out the life of your positivity. They're never going to let you live in positivity. Negativity surrounds them, and they keep on telling you to come into that ambit as well. The fourth is the drama magnet. So this is that set of those set of fake people who always want to exaggerate whatever is happening with them. So they lost $10, they'll start talking about $100. So what if I would have lost $100? So these are the drama magnets. Their life actually is a set of exaggerated happenings. They're so interested in fact what they are also dangerous. Why? Because they exaggerate your circumstances as well. So there is a test coming up or an exam coming up, you are afraid of it. They are going to add so much of drama to it that you're going to become 10x afraid of your exam or the test, whatever is coming up. You have a look, we all have challenges in life. None of us is spared from those challenges, but a challenge has to be taken at the right amount of its face value, so to say. If that face value is unnecessarily increased out of proportion, that's where the troubles begin. And why am I calling these people fake? Because they don't let you see the right side of the problems. Then comes the jealous type. So these are those people who are never going to let you grow. So they are equally dangerous as the emotional moocher. These people, they don't they judge you, by the way. They are the people who are so normally all fake people are the people who are heavily invested in judging you. And talking from a very psychological perspective, the jealousy comes, so jealousy is an emotion that comes because there is something lacking in me. So if I'm jealous, that implies there is something lacking in me, and that has given birth to the jealous nature. But what these fake people do is they don't just limit themselves to that thing which is lacking in them. So let's say, for example, I don't have a phone, and that has given birth to all jealousy around I am jealous of all the people around me who are financially very, very stable. But these people, they don't limit it to only money. They're going to extrapolate it to everything around them. And these are the people who put in that seed of doubt in you. When that seed of doubt in you comes, so they're going to actually make you doubt your own self. So eventually, and like I said, the factoid thing, they're going to repeat it so many times, they're going to hammer it in your brain so many times that eventually you are also going to start to believe that you cannot do certain tasks, that challenge in your life that has come. You yourself are going to give up, probably even without trying. Then is the compulsive fibber, the person who compulsively lies. So this person, the problem with this person is basically that you can't trust them ever. So they might not be lying probably 10% of the time, but how do you know which 10% is that? And hence the you, basically the one who's actually being fibbed to, or who's in the environment of a compulsive fibber, your energies are drained just thinking which part, which sentence, or which statement of them is right, what they're saying is right, and which of them they are saying is a false thing. So there is a major trust deficit between you and them, and rightfully so, but your energies are drained. So I'm more focused on your energies and your time and your effort. Your focus gets shifted. And hence, of course, a compulsive fibber becomes a very difficult person to live with. The last one is the tank. So this fellow is something like the narcissist only. So he's basically going to crush everything that comes in their way. The difference between the narcissist and the tank, and of course, like the narcissist, the tank is also very, very easily identifiable. The difference is, or the characteristic of a tank is that if you have the tank kind of a fake person around you, you are usually in a relationship with that person. And that is what makes it the last but not the least kind of a fake person to deal with. This is that one person who's not going to answer your phone calls. This person also never calls you back, and or messages you for that matter. And whenever you ask him or her, they would always have a rational sounding excuse for why they did not call you back. And that is the fake person you are going to be you should be most wary of. Actually, these all 7 categories, I'm sure you're putting people in one of these categories at least. Try and identify them, guys, based on the characteristics that I just shared, because the first stage of getting rid of a fake person is to identify the fake person. Like I said earlier, we lose a lot of energy, time, effort, resources like money, etc. Once we, because we are not able to identify that fake person, and when we do, it is already too late. So coming to another category, so the fake people know. Another way of knowing who's a fake person is that they have certain expectations of you. What are these expectations? Listen to them. They expect you to cover up for them. So if they're lying, if they're saying some untrue things, they expect you to cover up for them. They want you to be their knight in shining armor. So basically, right from something as trivial as their balance has gone, and the mobile balance has gone, a top up is required, the internet is not working, to something very, very critical, they will always expect you to prove themselves to you. And of course, the compliment they give you is that you are their knight in shining armor. They expect you to make yourself available regardless, by the way. So you have a college to attend, you have classes to attend, you have meetings to attend, you have family members to attend to, doesn't make a difference. If they want you, you have to be there. Then they don't want you to feel tired ever. So you're physically tired or you're mentally tired, they're not concerned, because their life revolves around them. This is especially true of a narcissist and a tank. They don't understand you. Not to be affected by their drama. So if they're doing drama, and you tell them, you pinpoint it to them, you don't dramatize everything, why are you exaggerating everything, they will come across as someone hurt. So, oh my God, what have you said? You really think I'm doing drama? That implies you think I'm lying. So they're going to build you, they're going to suck you into their guilt magnet. So you start feeling guilty about things that you're doing with them. Then be always around them, basically. So just a second, guys. I'm not able to see what's written on my slide because there is a. So be always cheerful when around them, regardless. Yeah. So they sorry. Oh, I stopped this share. My bad. So they always expect you to be cheerful whenever you are around them. So you might be going through some of your own problems, financial, societal, family, friends, career, education, but that all takes a backseat. They are expecting you to be cheerful around them. They don't want to see your drama. Then this is something that I don't like about fakers at all, the factoids. They expect you to manipulate. They expect you to manipulate anything or anyone and be mean basically to people. It might not be a part of your basic nature, but still you do because you want to make them feel happy. You know, these are the things that factoids work on you with. I mean, they are super intelligent people and you need to be wary of them. And then of course the bottom line is that they want you to impress them. Guys, are you understanding all of these things? Are you able to connect to all of these things? Can I see a show of, okay, I can't see the hands because my screen is being shared in the chat box. If you can just relate to whatever I'm saying, just say I do. So this is not the marriage wala I do, this is just that you do relate to these things. So my chat is so is something happening in the chat? I can't see that. Has someone replied in the chat? Okay, Prati, there's something wrong with my chat. I can't see anyone's comments. So yeah, now I have. Thank you. So I got only one person has replied. Oh no, two. Okay. Oh yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much. Now I got it. Pratish, thank you so much. So moving on. This is the epicenter of toxins. We talk about toxic people. This is what it's all about. These are the toxins that are injected into your body, your life, and your environment once you are around these fake people. And that's why I understand why so many people mentioned something to do with the fake people. Now, how to deal with them? So this is not the mic testing 1 2 3, huh? This is, you have to ensure that now that you got so much of information about fake people, there might be some people who are not fake but might come across as fake. Like for example, um, who are these right people? So I'm now going to share 4 or 5 things about who are these people who are your right friends or family members or partners, make you feel comfortable being around them. So you don't need to fake anything. You don't need to fake anything to be around them. They support you. They keep you in contact with you. They keep in contact with you all the time and not just when they need it. And they stick around during the hard times and not just only the fun times. Just think about these people also. Please remove them from the fake list. So they might not always say the right thing, but are willing to listen to you if you're struggling. There are a few more points that I've not listed. It's something like these people are shy. So if they're shy, just don't assume that they're fake. These people will be your 3 a.m. friends, genuine 3 a.m. friends. And then also going to be, so there is a kind of support that you want. So it might not be monetary always. So they give you that shoulder to cry on whenever you have to. They don't need to necessarily prove you wrong, why you are wrong always. You might be wrong, but there is a time and place for everything. So do this mic testing 1 2 3 definitely. Then for the fake people, remove the benefit. Now this is the very strategic tip. Remove the benefit. So fake people are there with you for a benefit. So if they're there with you for money, remove that in the sense, tell them that it is not available anymore for them. If they're there for you for your time, remove that. For your company, remove yourself from that company. So just identify the things they are there for with you basically. So just remove that benefit away from the equation, and you will see that fake people will automatically and gradually go away. So this is the tip 3. Start reducing your contact with them gradually. Understand tip 4 को 3 को combine करके, don't fight with them. So why am I telling you not to fight with fake people? Because they are going to go down and they'll drag you down with them. One, they're going to suck out your energy. These people don't get tired. They usually don't have anything to do in their lives, and that is why they're so invested in you, probably, and probably 5 others. Don't engage in fight. Just do it strategically. The tips that I'm sharing with you, just use them. Add some tips more on from your end. And yes, tip 3, going back to tip 3, don't fight and start reducing your contact with them gradually. So while you're spending, like for example, 3-4 hours every day with them, either physically or in these COVID days virtually, start reducing gradually. Gradually is a keyword over here. So don't suddenly drop off the grid. Okay. And tip 5, as much as possible, don't break up over the phone. So you have to, if you have to break up with them. So when I say break up, it's not necessarily about a relationship breakup. It's about getting away from their environment. Please don't do it over the phone. One, that is not the right way to do in any case. And second, it is going to be spawned off in a story where you are the culprit who broke off over the phone. So when these negative people, they are jilted when you remove them or you try to remove them from your circle or your environment, they're going to talk to other people. And when they talk to other people, you have actually given them ammunition to talk to other people. And this is a verifiable ammunition. So they might talk lies to you about other people, but here you have proved to them. They can actually take a screenshot of it and circulate it over your friends group. So don't do it over the phone, guys. Try set up a meeting with them, meet them, do it face to face as much as is possible. And then of course the tip is ask for advice. So if you are falling short of ideas or the right thing to do, speak to someone. So that someone could be from your friend circle, someone from your family, someone elder to you, or someone professional, someone like me. So I actually give tips. I give these ways out to people so that they get out of these kinds of relationships without creating too much of damage. And then, of course, the last point in this is learn the subtle art of neutralizing conversations. Okay, so try splitting the blame. So when you talk to them, when you're breaking up or you're speaking to them, so I don't know, maybe we're just not compatible as friends, so you're splitting the blame. So both of you are wrong. Maybe I wasn't the friend I could have been either. So you are not the right friend that you should have been, but maybe I was also not the right friend. So you don't need to mean it in the sense genuinely, but you need to, of course, come across as someone who means it. So if they're angry, so they're going to display three typical type of emotions. One is anger. So your neutralizing conversation or neutralizing statement would be, I'm sorry you feel that way. So don't make them angry unnecessarily. So you don't need to reply anger with anger. You just calm down. Just say, I'm sorry you feel that way. If you're angry, if they say that you are a bitch, huh? So you say that I'm sorry you feel that way. That's what it is. No. So if they react with sadness, so person who's reacting with sadness, one thing that you have to keep in mind is you have to give that person some time. So don't break it off immediately. Give them some time, sleep it over. You also sleep it over. So if that sadness is probably one of the, and of course this is genuine sadness I'm talking about, is one of the truest emotions that can be found in negative people also. So but still, if you plan to do that, nonetheless, you say thank you for taking the time to talk with me. I'm sorry this worked out this way. I didn't intend to, but I'm sorry it really worked out this way. Hopefully some other time. Okay, sorry. So don't give them hope. So this is what I want to talk about also. Don't say that, all right, let's meet after a month's time. Until unless it is critically necessary, don't give them unnecessary hope, because these guys cling on hope. If they are genuinely apologetic, and then of course this is also something that you can say that I need some time to think about what you said. Can we talk again tomorrow? Not after a week, not after a month. If not tomorrow, probably the same day. This is being done in the morning, then evening perhaps. All right, so I'm done with my first topic. I'm going to take questions at the end. If you have any questions, please note them down, and I'll come back to them after I'm done with this, the second half of my presentation. All right, so let's talk about the elephant in our lives, the expectations. This is one of the things that is the source of the internal stress, internal anxiety, internal depression. When we talk about fake friends, a lot of it has to do with external environment. But when we talk about expectations, now this is the more serious thing, because here we are talking about something that is happening internally to us. So let's pay some attention to how we can strategically deal with expectations. So the weight we carry. Oh. I'm going to share some statements. So these statements, by the way, are again real life statements. These are not constructed statements. See if you can relate to any one of them. I sometimes feel that I'm living someone else's life. I'm doing good, but something in my life is missing. There's something missing from my life, but I don't know what. There is something missing, but I don't know what. I have a lot of social anxiety. So I have no idea where this is coming from. I can't really say I am happy with my life. The one thing that bothers me the most is that not being able to live up to expectations set by myself. So we're setting up expectations for ourselves that we are not able to live up to, or we doubt that we'll be able to live up to. This is one of the most common sources of anxieties, by the way, the unhappiness. I live in a family where my extended family plays an equally critical role in making decisions for all the children of the family. I fear I'll not be able to do equally as my cousins or real brothers or sisters also, by the way. So there is this comparison that is happening in our mind. What if I'm not able to achieve my goals in life? This thought terrorizes me day and night. By the way, some of these sentences are picked up from the Google form that you guys shared. Some of them are from the other feedback forms that I take from my other clients, and I put them over here. I'm very, very sure that you are connecting to at least some of these sentences. And this is where that unhappiness begins in our life, or that unhappiness stays in our life. The anxiety, the depression in advanced stages, that's where it stays. So there are typically four kinds of expectations. Understand these expectations, very important, and then I'll come to the solutions as well. So I'm going to actually give you all the sides of coins today, like I did with the fake friends and fake people. Made you understand what it is, how to identify them, and then how to solve that problem. Similarly with this, I want you to first understand the categories of expectations that we have of ourselves. The first one, type 1, is expectations from self. So this is the most common category that most of us fall into, and it all begins here. So this stage 1 stress, the mindset game. So okay, so what do I mean by the mindset game? Dealing with expectations, actually creating expectations and then dealing with them. It's all between our two ears here. It's a mindset game. There is no theory, there is no textbook, there is nothing, nowhere it is written what is expected of you. Understand this point. What is expected of you is constructed as you grow up. Of course, we are not talking about movie like Three Idiots where the son is born and Parikshit Sani says, "Mera beta engineer banega bada hoke." That normally does not happen nowadays. But as we are growing up, expectations are added. And one right now I'm talking about the ones that we add ourselves. So this is a mindset game. So today you have certain expectation of yourself. Understand why am I calling a mindset game? Because it can be changed. Do not get fixated to your expectations. I'll talk in a minute more about it. The best case scenario might happen. The best case scenario, not really the best. The worst case scenario, not really the worst. Just think about these two statements. So what if your expectations actually are met? So you have a goal that you want to get that job, or you want to get that person in your life, or whatever. So there is that goal that you have set for yourself, which is called expectation, and you're able to meet that goal. There are actually certifiable researches done by scientists throughout the world which says that when we are working on our expectations for too long a time period, when we get them, when we achieve them, we are usually not as happy as we thought we will be. And this works on the flip side also. If we are fixated on our expectations for too long and we don't get them, usually we are not that sad also, because somewhere in our mind we know that we tried our best. So the best case scenario might not be the best the best scenario, and the worst case scenario might not be the worst. So don't worry too much. Listen to this statement. Dalai Lama, I'm sure you all know about it. He says attachment is okay, again my screen is blocked, I'm sorry. Attachment is the origin, the root of suffering, hence it is the cause of suffering. Just give me a second, guys. Yeah, so attachment is the origin, the root of suffering, hence it is the cause of suffering. What does he mean? We are attached to our suffering so much that it has become the cause of our suffering. This is what I was saying earlier, that don't attach yourself so much to your goals, to your aims, that there is nothing left, nothing else left in your life. This is the reason why people are not happy when they achieve their goals. And Dalai Lama, a very wise person, has very correctly and articulated it for us. You know what? Let me articulate it for you also, and let me know if I'm wrong. We romanticize our expectations. What do I mean? There is some kind of romantic angle, romantic, not the love angle, the romantic angle. So it goes well, there is some kind of a movie which is playing in our mind. It goes wrong, there is another movie which is playing in our mind, where the self-blame and the unnecessary over analysis of the situation start happening. Drop it. You are doing an activity which is not required and which does not yield you the ROI, the return on your investment. The investment being your resources, your mind, your effort, your focus. Understand the concept of failing better. What do I mean by failing better? I do something and I fail. I don't give up. I get up and I do that thing again. However, the second time, I'm going to include all the lessons I learned from my first failure, and I'm going to do that. And it's again, I will fail, but this time I will fail better. So earlier I failed on a scale of 0 to 10. I scored a paltry 2 on 10, but learning from my mistakes, I attempted again. And this time also I failed in my attempt, but this time the rating went from 2 to 4. So I'm feeling better. That I keep on trying more, I'm going to, I'm sure you know that for inventing the light bulb that we see. And when asked that, why did you attempt 50,000 times? He said that, well, I know now 49,990 ways of not doing the right thing. So it's all about mindset, guys. It's actually a mindset game. The stronger your mindset is, the stronger you're going to get benefited from your expectations. So expectations are not wrong. It's just the mindset that creates it wrong. It's that attachment to that expectations that creates all the ruckus in our brain, that noise. So first self was expecting from self. The second self type is people are expecting from us. And who are these people? They're a specific set of people. What do I mean by that? That's your family. That's your immediate friends. That's your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your spouse. That's your siblings. So they're these specific set of people who have a certain set of expectations from us. And that is what creates the stage 2 stress. You need to understand what exactly is the root cause of the problem here. You know that Pados Wale Sharma ji, your dad talks about that, and that's the root cause. We are just focusing on what others did. I'll share an example with you. So I'm on the panel of a lot of colleges. I'm the professional interviewer who goes at the time of admissions every year to a lot of colleges, and I'm on the panel. So last year only, this is about 2019 only, I was on the panel of a college, and while taking that admission, I asked that person, so it was a law college, and I asked that student, why do you want to join law? So he said that my dad took me to meet the DM, the district magistrate of our area. So that house was a Haveli. It was a huge house. The perks, the servants, the cars, the lifestyle, the power, the money that he had, it all impressed me so much that I thought that I'm going to do law and I'm going to become a judge. Now, my point is this the right way to actually decide a career? I understand a lot of people do this. But now my question, now that we are understanding about unhappiness and the reasons surrounding expectations, is it the right way? I know it's not the right way. We all know that. But who's wrong over here? I'll give you 3 options. Is it the child who's thinking on these lines? Is it the father who took the child? Or is it the DM who showed his extravagant lifestyle? Put in the chat box, guys. Is it the child, the father, or the DM? Child, father, DM. One of the options. Who's wrong over here, by the way? The child. Okay, I'm getting child, father, father, father. Okay, none. No one is wrong. Fantastic. Dunya mast hai. Kya dikkat hai? Father. None. All right. Child. Father, father. Hey, no one says the DM is wrong. Huh? You all know the DM of your areas. Okay, father. Okay. All right. So it's almost like a split between the father and the child vote-wise. The correct answer in this case, okay, I'm still getting answers, the child. The correct answer in this case is the father is the wrong entity in this case, in this example. The child in an impressionable age. He or she will just absorb whatever is shown to him, and the father is taking, so as it is, there is an implicit confidence in the child's mind that papa kahin galat jagah nahi leke jayenge, in the sense he is always going to make me meet the right people. The DM is not wrong, because that's his lifestyle and he's living. He's not putting up a show just for the benefit of the child. The father is wrong. He is actually creating an influence in the child's mind, which is not the right way of doing it. So there is no, I'm not saying that the profession of law is wrong. Of course, it is one of the best professions in the country that we have in today's time, in every way possible. My question mark is in the way of influencing, and this is the root cause of the problem. So our parents usually, without realizing, so they don't, our parents mean the best for us, by the way, so that goes without saying. No one can contradict this in 99.9% of the cases. However, without realizing, they are making decisions for us. They are trying to influence us in the way which is not the right way. And this will go for any other person who's trying to influence us. Don't get influenced in these manners, guys. Please do your research, do your factual researches. Agreed, there is a lot of money, power in these kinds of jobs. But the biggest question is, are you cut out for this job? Are you actually going to be able to study law for 5 years and then prepare for judiciary, then sit for the exams, crack the exams? Or if you want to get into the IAS route, are you cut out for so much of studies and hard work? Not every one of us is. We have to be clear, we have to be practical, we have to be realistic. And this is where the burden of this is the baggage of expectation a lot of us are carrying even to this date. I've been teaching for out of my 20 years, 20 plus years of experience, I have taught for over 10 years. And I'm still in touch with all of my students, almost all of my students. And I know for a fact that during their 4-year courses, during their 5-year courses or 3-year courses, depending on which college I was in at that time, a lot of students have thought of quitting midway, because they realize after a year and a half into the course, this decision was not the right for them. Imagine the kind of baggage you're going to go with if you actually do this thing. If you don't do this thing, in any case, you're not going to survive very well. This becomes highly complicated. This is the weight of expectations that actually bogs down a lot of people. This weight, so weight is good, it's productive. So jab stress aata hai, we work harder. But beyond a certain point, that stress becomes counterproductive. So first layer is productive, then it becomes counterproductive. And beyond a certain level, we are not going to study. We are not going to be able to study because focus is not going to be there. So are the people who are guiding you, are they qualified to guide you in the field of your choice? And then a very good question, what is the key over here? Information or direction? What do I mean by that? You have a question, you go online, you go to the YouTube and you Google out your questions that you have. You'll get plethora of answers, over 100,000 results in almost every search that you do. So information is there online. And of course, you meet everyone. Everyone is in the Gyan mode whenever you go and ask them questions. So Gyan bhi bahut hai duniya mein. What is lacking is direction. So this direction is the keyword over here. People give you a humongous amount of Gyan online or offline whenever you go seeking for them. No one is going to say no to you. They're always going to share things. The biggest thing that is missing and that qualifies that person to either give you or not give you is the direction. Can he or she guide you in the right direction? Do this, then take a call whether you want to do this or not. So a lot of people, they don't do it. And that's what you need to ask your family member, your close friends, your siblings or elder brother, sister. If ever they are setting up expectations for you, you need to ask them, are you qualified to do it? Of course, not so categorically and bluntly, but in the right manner, you need to check with them whether they're qualified to guide you or not. And again, seek help outside, your professional help, if you think that there is no one around you who can help you guide that. Don't shy away from that. It's a matter of your life. It's a matter of your profession, your career. I'll have to move on a little faster. So type 3, So this is the society at large. So when I was talking about the Pados Wale Khanna uncle, this is the Khanna uncle telling you what to do in life. So this is stage 3 stress. So I'm going to skip the wine experiment. It's an example, but in favor of time, I know what, I hope you know what I'm talking about. Their perspective is always comparative. So they don't have an absolute understanding of the concept, but they always know that that fellow did this, he earned 50,000, you also should do this so that you can earn 60,000. The expectations are moving targets. What do I mean by that? They are going to change with the time. So 3 years back you would have asked them, they would have told you to do, or 5 years back you would have asked them, they would have told you to do an MBA, because that is where the money is. But suddenly 5 years later, when MBA is not that hot a subject or a career, they will tell you to do law. 3 years down the line, they'll tell you to do probably aeronautics engineering. 10 years back, they would have suggested you to do an MBBS. Now, what is happening? They're not concerned with what you are interested in. They're not concerned with what your caliber is. They're just concerned in what is happening right now in the market. So their expectations are always moving targets. They're not static. The targets need to be static, at least for some duration of time, till the time you have time to reach that target, and then move on to another target. And then type 4, this is where we start expecting from the others. So you have to understand this also. When I'm telling you that beware of people who are expecting of you, who are not rational in their expectations, I want to put on record this point also, that a lot of us also do the things that I'm telling that should not be done. So when we expect from people, we are actually setting up a stage where when someone expects of us, we justify it. That is the wrong thing. So because we have given gyan to other people, when someone else gives us gyan, we accept, we listen to it, we sometimes even follow it, because that's probably the right thing to do, because I also did it, no? So that's something that you need to be wary of. Now let's talk solutions quickly. Stop overreaching. What do I mean by that? This is where you are. This is where you want to go. Don't straight away start thinking of the end goal. So for example, I'm earning 1 lakh rupees today per month. Let's say hypothetical numbers, they're not the actual numbers. There's some background noise. Can you please mute yourself? Whosoever there. Thank you. So let's say hypothetically I'm earning 1 lakh rupees a month right now, and I set up a target of earning 5 lakh rupees a month. But if I move straight away from 1 to 5, right, move in the sense I start thinking of moving from 1 lakh per month to 5 lakhs per month, there is so much of excessive burden that I'll put on myself. So if you are right now in your 3rd year and you are starting, you start to think about a job that you want to get, nothing wrong in that. In fact, you should. But, and when I say 3rd year, I'm talking about a 5-year course. So when you're in your 3rd year and there are 2 more years left in your academics, and you start thinking about what kind of job you want to get into, like I said, nothing wrong in it. But please don't jump to a scenario where you start thinking of what I'll answer in an interview or what I'll wear to my interview. That's silly. That's really not going to be a productive way of operating. To do is between this point you are right now and in this point where you want to get right now, you need to plan out your steps. So you're going to probably create from this point to this point 10 steps. I like to call them happiness nudges. What is this? So I move from this point to step 1, which is just this far away, which is very, very doable and practical. So I give myself a happiness nudge. So I nudge myself, make myself happy. That gives me confidence, that gives me motivation to move on to my step 2 nudge. So from step 1, I move to step 2. So if you look at any point of time, I'm just working on this small goal. I'm not working on this bigger goal. And that is what creates the entire set of differences. So stop overreaching. Create these happiness nudges for yourself. Okay, so you and others becomes you versus others, by the way. Then expectations, implicit social contracts. So when people have expectations of you, remember the categories I spoke about earlier? So it's category 2 and 3. When people have expectations of you and you don't say no to it, you don't disapprove of it, it is taken as an implicit social contract. What do I mean by that? It is implied in the minds of the person telling you to become something or work on something. It is implied in his or her mind that you have accepted what they are saying. So in case you think you can't do it, or you want to revisit the decision, you want to talk about it a more, research about it a more, please make it clear to people. Speak up. If you don't, like I said, it's an implicit social contract, the expectations. You legitimize their expectations, set up boundaries. You know what, you are qualified to help me till this point, please be polite in doing all of this. Okay, I'm not telling you to be blunt, I'm not telling you to be outspoken, I am just telling you to speak up in a manner which is going to be productive. So set up boundaries, and it's a reciprocal activity. What do I mean by that? If you're setting up boundaries for them, there is a boundary for you as well. Always work in two-way direction. Never just focus on the other person, focus on you as well. That's a part of your inner growth. Then put your oxygen mask first. What do I mean by that? The law of life states, this of course statement comes from the airplanes, when they say that in case the cabin pressure drops, there are going to be oxygen masks. So put one on yourself first, secure yourself before you start helping others. Be nice to yourself, be good to yourself, be flexible with yourself. Don't fall in love with your expectations, don't romanticize expectations. This is the law of life you need to understand. Just be a happy person from within, and the other things will follow. Who's your best friend? I would have loved to take a poll on this, but since we don't have time, let me answer you. It's a very one word simple answer. You are your best friend. What do I mean by that? You are that one person who knows your strengths, your weaknesses, your current limitations, your environment, your expectations the best. You know yourself the best. The honest most person is you to yourself. And hence, put on that oxygen mask first yourself, and then start working on what others are expecting of you. Indulge in self-talk. So start talking to yourself. Okay, not while walking on the road, huh? That's not safe. Although today's mask, so no one would know who's talking, but I don't mean it that way. So when I sleep at night every day, I just think of what has happened, transpired during the day. So I do this self-talk. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? There is a red-green activity. The red activities are those activities which I think should not be repeated again. I could have done better. And then there is a green activity that I think that I did right. So every day you might not have the red-green activities, but if you make it a habit, you're actually going to be benefited just by looking at that. Create a diary of sorts, just by looking at that diary, which was the red activity and which was the green activity. So I highlight the red activities with the red marker, I highlight the green activities with a green marker, so as to quickly let me know which ones are the ones that I still need to work on, and which are the ones that I did right and has to be repeated in future. Stop judging. Who are you judging? You're judging yourself, you're judging others. That is the most unproductive and most commonly done activity in this whole wide world, not just India. I've been speaking to you for the past 1 hour. I'm very sure you're judging me as well. What do I mean by that? Whether I'm good, whether I'm not good, whether I'm effective in my speaking, what I'm speaking making sense or not. We judge. Stop judging. We judge ourselves. Stop judging. Until and unless you stop judging, you cannot move ahead in life. So a lot of clients who come to me, not a lot, sorry, my bad, 100% of the clients who come to me, I judge neither one of them. I tell them categorically that I'm not going to judge you, regardless of whatever you speak or whatever you have spoken, whatever you are thinking, so some people are thinking of doing something wrong. So I'm not going to judge you on that. My work is to tell you what is it that you can do right, or if you can do right or not. So without judging, I'm going to give you advice, I'm going to counsel you, I'm going to coach you in order to tell you to do how to do things right. So like I talked about the factoid thing, when people come to me to coach them with regard to how to deal with fake friends, or with regard to expectations, how to deal with families' expectations, I coach them. I don't judge them. And that is something that you need to promise yourself also, that I'm not going to judge myself, I'm not going to judge others. It's a difficult thing to do, but we all need to do in case we want to actually move ahead in life. And goals should be smart. So this is a very key point. A lot of expectations arise out of goals. If the goals are set correct, like I said, from point A to point B, this is the major goal, and then we create 10 small happiness nuggets for ourselves. If all of this is done in the right manner, that is actually going to take a load of your self. Your mental health is going to become healthier. And when I say smart, what do I mean by that? Smart is actually an acronym. It stands for that your goals should be specific. They should not be ambiguous. They should be measurable. Again, they should not be ambiguous. They should be achievable. Let them be realistic. Let them not be something that people that you cannot achieve in the right amount of time. The last point is timely. And then you need, the moment these 5 categories are tick marked against whatever goal you are creating, that is a smart goal. What I'll do is, as a part of my goodies bag, the first goodie I'm going to share with you is, after this is over, I'll take your email addresses, and I'm going to share one workbook with you, which has got the smart goals trick to do. So you're actually going to do that whenever you have a goal to set in life. Just follow that workbook, do it, whatever I'm telling you to write in it, do it, and you'll see that you have come to a very, very achievable goal, something that is realistic, something that actually is going to make you happy, satisfied, content, successful, without the unnecessary baggage of expectations. So share your email addresses. At the end, I'll share a link and I'll email it to you by tomorrow. So that's my first goodie to you. Okay, then, okay, so we have come to the end. Let me give you 4 parting tips, very interesting ones and very, very relevant ones. The first one, if a fish were to climb a tree, it would fail miserably. So if you were to judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it would fail miserably, because it was not built to climb a tree. It was built to swim in the water. So a lot of our expectations are unnecessarily, because we are not built to do that thing that we are forcing ourselves or someone else is forcing us to do. So please don't be that fish who is trying to climb a tree. You are going to fail miserably. That goes without saying. You need to pick up your strengths and start working on them. Don't forget to create your own happiness nugget. So I'm going to share that book with you, the workbook with you. You will know how to create your happiness nuggets. Then this is the important point. Expectations are editable. If you set up an expectation that is not cast in stone, you can edit them as you move on. You realize that is, when you start with an expectation, you are highly motivated, but when you start doing it, you realize, okay, I think I've bitten more than what you can chew. If you've bitten more than what you can chew, you don't need to consume it necessarily just because you've bitten it off. Spit it off, spit it out. So your expectations are editable. Keep on editing them, keep on revising them as you move on in your journey towards reaching to your goal. So the very, very important tip, this that I just shared. And the last one is that I've been asking you throughout. Do you know when to ask for help? Are you open to looking out for external help? Now, this is a limiting belief that a lot of us Indians have. And I have coached Indians from 6 countries now, the US, the UK, the UAE, India, of course, Australia. So, and I see this is a typical thing that we see in Indians in India and settled abroad. We tend to not ask for external help. We think that everything can be sorted within our families, within our people. Guys, please qualify your help. If it is qualified, If you think the people are right who can help you out, please go ahead and take that help, because those are the people who know you the best. But in case, and which is the most of the cases, you think that those people cannot, then please go and seek out external help. This external help also has to be qualified by you. So it could be your brother's friend who is from the industry that you are thinking to join, or is from the industry that you are in already. Take help from him or her. Or you can go to people like me who are coaches, who are professional, who are qualified, who are going to help you nonetheless, regardless, without judging you. So just don't be afraid of seeking help. Don't let your ego come in between. Don't let your overconfidence come in between. And I know that you won't. It's just that sometimes you don't think about it. So you need to categorically start thinking that, is the help that I have right now, till now, sufficient? If not, then seek that external help. So with this, I come to the end of this webinar. Pratyush, can you share the links in the chat box? Guys, I'm sharing 2 links with you. So one is a Google form, the feedback form as it is shown. Guys, put in your feedback. This will include your email address as well. So I'm going to send you the first goodie that I promised. Group. This is my inner circle group, link to the group. So join it in case you want to be a part of that group. Over there, I keep on putting up posts and things about how to be happy in life, happier in life. We're all happy, you know, but we are not the 100% happy kind of a form. So a lot of feedbacks that I get is, I'm happy, but, and then the problem begins. So we all tend to think that we all are happy in some aspects of our life, but there are definitely some aspects of our life that we are unhappy about. And those are the aspects we need to work on. It's not an overnight thing. It takes time, but it is almost all of these things are doable as long as we're in the right mindset. So join the WhatsApp group in case you want to get these happiness nuggets every now and then. And fill up the feedback form as well. The second goodie that I want to give you today is, so I'll stop my screen share. Okay, guys, this, by the way, is I want to take you to my website also. Just give me a second. So over here, there are a lot of resources that can help you. Just give me a second. So over here, there are a lot of resources that can help you deal with your problems. So this is a place where you can put in your name and your email address. I'll send you a PDF about happiness and how to get it. So over here, of course, this is me, my qualifications. You're not broken, of course. You need to read this to understand what I'm talking about. And then these are all the people who have come to me. These organizations are not my clients, but the people who work in these organizations are my clients. And then, of course, at the bottom of it is all blogs that I keep on writing. So there are some blogs that you can read, and then of course they're all free, of course, so you can read. And at the top of it, if you can just see, is my story. Crazy or not, you have to read this. Then of course there are programs, pricing, appointments, and coffee chats. So just give it a read. Oh, I think it is not visible. Is it visible? Guys, give me a heads up. Is it visible? Yeah, it is visible. Okay, fair enough. So guys, just go through this website. It's www.drpushplamba.com. So yeah, I'm back. It's doctor is abbreviative, drpushplamba.com. Oh my God, the session went on for too long. I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pushp. And I would indeed like to thank everyone who has joined for the session. And also we have a very, very special guest amongst us for this session. We have Rotarian Brenda Cressy. So she is a trustee of Rotary Foundation. We welcome you wholeheartedly, ma'am. I, in the capacity of the event chair for the conference, we welcome you wholeheartedly, ma'am. So Brenda ma'am would also be speaking around 45 minutes from now for the next session that ma'am would be taking. Now, may I invite Nishil sir to please say a few words, sir?
Please. Thank you, Karan. And it was great listening to Dr. Push Plamba. So, few recaps that identify the external factors which can hamper your growth. Don't be stressed internally, and that's how Rotarians comes into picture, that they are there to help you at the time of bad situations as guardians. And anytime you seek help, any guidance, we have a strong team of Rotarians to back up you all. So we are like a family. Share your problems with us. Don't stress. Yesterday we heard that to be the king of jungle, you need not to be tallest, the biggest, the wisest. Huh? So you can be king still. Huh? Just identify your strengths. Thank you, Dr. Push. It was great listening to you.
We millennials definitely go through our own tough times. We surely helped us how to tackle our issues and to understand how to be happy by giving us various goodies and especially happiness nuggets. I thank Dr. Push Plamba for such a great virtual no wall session as it has been given us more motivation, strength, and clarity in our lives. I also thank Rotarian Nishil Pandey for his words of wisdom. As we move forward towards the end of our today's session, I would like to again draw your attention towards eradicating polio from the world.
We are this close.
We are this close to making history.
This close of wanting to making history.
This close to changing the world.
This close.
We are this close. This close.
We are this close to making history.
We're this close to ending polio. To making sure no child suffers from this crippling disease ever again. All we need is you.
I repeat, together, we are this close to ending polio. Please refer the chat box for the payment details to make any donations. You can also visit our website www.rotaractclubofnoidayouth.org for any further information. Now, I welcome Rotaractor Mahika Bhasin for the deliverance of vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I feel elated to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who made this event possible. I, Rotaractor Mahika Bhasin, on behalf of our entire team Aram, would like to thank our patrons, District Governor Rotarian Alok Gupta, RID 3012, past District Governor Rotarian Nancy Barbie, RID 7730, past President Rotarian Surendra Mishra, RID 3012, past President Rotarian Nishchal Pandey of Rotary E-Club of Connect, RID 3012, for being our constant support and our guiding light. Dr. Push Plamba, who enlightened us with his inspiring words. We would also like to present a token of appreciation to Dr. Lamba for making this session a resounding success.
Thank you so much, Mahika. Thank you so much.
Our MOC for this event, Ms. Medika, for being a helping hand in conducting this session. In the end, I would like to thank Rotaractor Kumar Karan, the project chair, and our pillar of strength, without whom this event wouldn't have been possible, along with our entire organizing committee who worked vigorously for this event. I would like to thank all the attendees for being a part of this session. We hope you had fun, and we look forward to seeing you in the next session. With this, we come to an end. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you guys for having such a... Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. So since we are just around a few more minutes to start the session with Brenda ma'am, so we'll just try to avoid the fellowship that we had planned for this particular Zoom meeting. So just see you all what do I say, like 15-20 minutes after. We have Rotarian Brenda ma'am speaking to all of you live at 6 p.m. See you all. Thanks. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll just end this meeting.